Okay, so we're going to go through these three. We're going to do the easy, the medium, and the hard. Just a quick one. I actually don't think the medium one actually needs the answers rounded to 2 decimal places. I think it's only going to be this last one here that's going to need the quadratic formula. So let's get started on the easy one. It says y equals x plus 3 and y equals x squared plus 4x minus 1. So clearly the green line that we have here is the y equals x plus 3. You can see it's crossing at 3 and it has a gradient of 1 because of the y equals mx plus c. And the quadratic is this y equals x squared plus 4x minus 1. Now they're already kind of written in the correct form here, so I can actually just put equation 1 and equation 2 together because this is what y is, so I can just replace this y with x plus 3. So immediately I get x plus 3 is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 1, like this. So just this x plus 3 replaced the y because those are the things that are already the subject. Now what I'm going to do is make this quadratic equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract the x from both sides, so I get x squared plus 3x, and I'm going to subtract the 3, so I get minus 4. Now this equation just needs some very simple factorising. You need to think of two numbers that multiply to minus 4 but add to 3. And those two numbers are going to be plus 4 and minus 1. 4 and minus 1 will multiply to minus 4, but they will add to 3. So this will give me two pairs, this will give me two solutions. Either x is equal to minus 4 or x is equal to 1. Now we already know what y is because we've got it written up here in the nice simple one. So we know that y is just equal to the x coordinate plus 3. So it's going to be minus 4 plus 3, which is minus 1. So x is equal to minus 4 and y is equal to minus 1. And sometimes you see that written as a coordinate as minus 4 and minus 1. And look, you can actually see on the graph that we've got here, that is one of the places where they're crossing at minus 4 and minus 1. So we know that we've done it correct. Also, to find the second one, we know that the y coordinate is the x coordinate plus 3. So it's just going to be the x coordinate plus 3, which is 4. So when x is equal to 1, y is equal to 4, which means the coordinates are going to be 1, 4. So our answers are 1, 4 and minus 4, minus 1. And we can also see here that it does cross at 1, 4 over here. So again, we know that we've answered this one correctly. And this was definitely much easier than the two that we've done in the video before. Now the medium one, this one I don't think is going to need the quadratic formula. We have got a circle and then we've got a straight line. And you can see we're going to use this afterwards to check that we've got this right. So I'm going to label my equations number 1 and number 2, and I'm actually going to make y the subject of 2. Make y the subject of equation 2. So I'm going to add the 3x to the other side, so it's going to be 4 plus 3x. Now sometimes people find it easier to sub in if they write it as 3x plus 4. Both of these things here, they're exactly the same as each other, so you can do whichever version of these that you prefer. So for the top equation, when I now substitute it into equation 1, we have that x squared plus y squared. Now the y squared, you can either, like I just said, do the 4 plus 3x. I'm going to do the 3x plus 4 squared. I think people usually prefer to see things with the x term written first, so you can swap them. So that's my x squared plus y squared equals 16. Now eventually I would like you to be able to expand this in your head, but if you need to, you can always do the brackets somewhere else on your page, or 3x plus 4. You can expand these so that you get the 3x times 3x, which is 9x squared. You get a 3x times 4, which is a 12x. You get another 12x, and then at the end you get a 16. I'd like you to aim, though, to try and do this in your head. So that is x squared plus 9x squared. The 12x and the 12x is 24x. And you have the 16, and you have the 16 there as well. So this is going to be quite a nice equation to solve, because when we subtract the 16 from both sides to try and make it equal 0, we have 10x squared plus 24x, and then the 16 subtracts and we just get that it's equal to 0. So I'm still going to want to divide just to make things a little bit simpler. I'm just going to half everything. So 5x squared plus 12x equals 0. Now this is a quadratic, and you can factorize this quadratic. We don't need to use any of the techniques of two numbers that multiply to this or that. You can just do really easy factorizing. You can just take the x out the front, so you get 5x plus 12 like this. This tells me two things. Either x is equal to 0, or we have 5x plus 12 equals 0. Now if 5x plus 12 equals 0, that means that x is going to be equal to minus 12 over 5. And minus 12 over 5, you can check this on a calculator, is just going to be minus 2.4. All we need to do now is figure out what y is equal to. So I'm going to have to just squeeze this in. So we know that y is equal to 3x plus 4. So y is going to be equal to 3 times 0 plus 4, which is just going to be 4. So we have this solution that x equals 0 and y equals 4. You can also see that on the graph. X equals 0 and y equals 4. We have that coordinate. Last one we need to do is if x is equal to 2.4, we know that y is going to be equal to, using this, 3 times minus 2.4 plus 4. And I'm going to be lazy and put this on the calculator. I'm going to do 3 times minus 2.4 plus 4. It's either minus 16 over 5 or minus 3.2. So we get minus 3.2. So as a coordinate, it's minus 2.4 minus 3.2. Let's check and see if that one looks right. Minus 2.4. Yeah, that looks like the right bit up here. And minus 3.2. Minus 2.4 and minus 3.2. So we've got those ones right. So apologies for saying earlier on you needed the quadratic formula for this. You definitely do not need the quadratic formula for this one. This one I think we might do though. So this is a harder one. We have got the equation of an ellipse. This is the black part that we have here, and then a straight line that we have here as well. So we need to make either x or y the subject. I'm going to pick equation 2 because I think equation 2 is going to look much more simple. So I'm going to make y the subject of 2. Very easy. I can actually just subtract the 2x. So y is just going to be equal to 5 subtract 2x. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute this into equation 1. So it says 3y squared plus x squared equals 12. So instead of writing y, I'm going to write 5 minus 2x, that's all going to be squared, plus x squared equals 12. Now again, I said you can try and do this in your head, but I'm going to do the double brackets. So just going to jot that down somewhere else on the page. So we're going to have our 5 minus 2x, our 5 minus 2x. When I expand those, I'm going to get the 25 minus 10x minus 10x. And then the 2x times the 2x, or the negative 2x times the negative 2x, is a plus 4x squared. Now you might not have noticed this before, but actually 5 minus 2x squared is the same as 2x minus 5 squared. So you can always swap those things around as well, but you should try that and see if it works for you. Let's just erase that so it doesn't get too confusing. So it's going to be 3 multiplied by 25 minus 10x, that's minus 20x, plus 4x squared plus x squared is equal to 12. So expanding these brackets, 75 minus 60x plus 12x squared plus x squared is equal to 12. So 13x squared minus 60x, and I've got plus 75 minus 12. So that's actually just going to be a plus 63 is equal to 0. Now we've got to this stage here, it's probably going to be one that we want to use the quadratic formula on for this, okay? So if you haven't learned the quadratic formula, I'm just going to jot it down here. So the x solution is going to be equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And in this particular equation, a is equal to 13, b is equal to minus 60, and c is equal to 63. So the solution is going to be that x is equal to minus b, well that's going to be a positive 60 because minus minus 60 is plus 60. I'm going to do the plus or minus, but I'm just going to start off with the plus. Well, I'll do the plus or minus. So we're going to have b squared, so minus 60 times minus 60, well that's just going to be 60 times 60, and 60 times 60 is going to be 3,600. You can use calculators for all of this part as well. Now I'm going to do minus 4 times a times c. And this whole thing is going to be divided by 2a, which is 2 times 13, and 2 times 13 is 26. So I'm going to open up the calculator for this. We're going to type this in. It's going to be, using the fraction button, 60. I'm going to start off with the positive one, plus the square root of 3,600 minus 4 times 13 times 63. And that's all going to be divided by 26. And that one gives us a very nice answer, that x is equal to 3. Now there's another version of this, so let's see if I can scroll through. The other version is where it's going to be the negative here, because you see we've said we've got plus or minus, so when I put the minus in there instead, we get this other number, which is why we're going to have to round this to 2 decimal places. So the other one to 2 decimal places is going to be 1.62, but for now I'm going to write 1.65 because I might need to have it rounded later on. So if x is equal to 3, let's take this part here. We need to find out what y is equal to. Now we've actually said what y is equal to. It's 5 minus 2x. So y is going to be equal to 5 minus 2 times x, which is 2 times 3. 5 minus 6 is minus 1. So that first solution is that x is equal to 3 and y is equal to minus 1. So as a coordinate, 3 minus 1. And actually you can see on the graph this, if I just zoom in quickly, this is 3 minus 1. So we're now going to use this 615. Let's put these dots to show it's going to keep going. Let's say what the y coordinate is going to be. It's going to be 5 minus 2 times x. So 5 minus 2 times 1.615. Luckily I've got that on my calculator, so I can actually just do, if I just come down here, I can do 5 minus 2 times the answer. The calculator knows what that answer is going to be, and that's 1.769. So y is going to be 1.769. So to 2 decimal places, x is 1.62, and y is 1.77, and that's to 2 decimal places. So as a coordinate, 1.62, 1.77. All that's left to do is to check that this one is also the correct one on the grid. So we've got 1.62 and 1.77. That looks about 1.62, that looks about 1.77. So I'm pretty happy that we've definitely solved this one correctly. Just a last little word here. I've grabbed these things, these graphs from an app called Desmos, which is spelled like this. So if you ever want to graph any of these things yourself, you can actually tap these 2 bits here where they cross over and it will give you the exact answers. So you can check to see if you've got them right. Okay, that's a really tough topic. I think that's one of the hardest things that there is in GCSE, and this hugely overlaps with A-levels. So get some practice in. I'll put some links to some websites where you can do some more practice of these questions as well. Okay, good luck. Found this video helpful? Then why not drop it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. This is the end of the playlist, but head to my channel's homepage to see what else I might be able to help you with. And as always, wishing you the very best for all your studies.